I'd like to welcome Mick from Electrolux to talk to us about training for our industry. So please put your hands together for Mick.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. No heckling from the back, please. Thank you. I just want to cover a few slides about training and education in the industry. But first of all, I'm just going to cover my background and where I've come from. So that's a nice little picture of me. And basically, I've been employed with Electrolux since 1987. So I've been around for quite a while within the industry. My background started as a service engineer and then into training customers and dealers at that time. So that was around 1995 when I started that. And then in 2002, I became the training manager or technical manager for Electrolux. So that led me into another path dealing with the factories very heavily on the equipment side of the business. 2004 to 2006 and then again 2008 to 2010 took me into service management. So that, of course, was running a service team, looking at all aspects of the business, from customer service to spares, technical management, and all the industry through there. Then back into technical training. So I've been around through the industry and up and down the scale. So the last 4 years, 2010, 2014, has mainly been concentrated in training. And now I'm regional training demonstration manager for UK and Ireland to the present day. So as I've put here, I'm the award-winning Mick, as people put on the emails to me. The Lara Award winner for 2015. And my next move is going to be undecided at this moment in time. So we'll see what happens after today, shall I? So that's just a little bit about myself. So topics that I'm going to cover, the importance of training, training support, personalised strategies, continuing professional development, or CPD as it's known as. I'm going to cover a little bit about SLEET. So I was hoping my friends from SLEET would have been in the room a little bit. So I'm going to cover a little bit of SLEET and the qualifications that we get through SLEET as well. So a little bit of this is, if you've been in the laundry industry for a little while, you'll understand what the Sinner Circle is all about. And the Sinner Circle is basically made up of 4 different elements. So we look at temperature, we look at the time, we look at the chemical, and we also look at the mechanical action. So the reason I've put this up here is because with these 4 elements, I've built a training strategy around the Sinner Circle. So when I did my qualification, it was one of the things that I had to look at for training. So within this, interpretation. Oops, sorry, go back one. I've looked at 4 different elements that can be classified within training. And we look at appraisals, we look at objectives that we have to set, we look at learning and coaching, and we also look at communication, right? So, which is very important. 4 key elements that we look at when we're training people within the industry. And looking at learning and development principles, this slide basically covers a 70-20-10 principle, whereas 70% is mainly on-the-job learning. Okay, that's where most of us will learn our skills, rights or wrongs. That is where we get most of our coaching and our learning from, is on-the-job learning. 20% is networking. As of today, you know, there's a lot of people here from different industries, people talking to each other. So we're doing a lot of networking. And then the 10% is education, training programs that we actually run. So just some of the development principles here, examples. So as I said, on-the-job learning, we've got expanding current roles, we've got performance appraisals and classroom training, web-based training, books, journals that we use to do training. So it all helps with what we do and how we cope with our training principles. With training support, I've basically put up here, it doesn't matter who we are or what we do. Training plays an important part in our industry. And my training leads me from the back office staff to field sales engineers, even to the sales teams as well. So all the knowledge that I've learned over the 30 years within the industry, then I pass that on as well. And not only to people inside my own organisation, but externally as well, so to customers. And with that, we get the customer insight and the feedback. So it helps us learn a little bit more and helps us put some more information together. So the next time we go out and do trainings, we make sure that we're fully covered with everything we want to do. And then we look at areas of improvement for the products that we sell. As I said, my background's taken me through service through to technical. So, importance of training. How many of us have faced this situation? I'm confused, I don't know what I'm seeing, you know, I need help. So training is very, very important into what we do. And, you know, do I really need to understand textiles? You know, we're in the industry where, you know, we're cleaning. We need to understand what we're seeing, how to clean particular garments, how to dry clean garments, you know. So it's very, very important that we have a full knowledge of what we do. And then how do we learn? So we learn through education, we learn through reference materials, PowerPoint presentations, online training portals. I know that Pam's been doing some training this morning with online training. And knowledge and experience from others. You know, I still learn every day. You know, there's always something that crops up and you learn from it. So, you know, training's an important part in how we learn. And most of this is what we call observational learning. So within our industry, we rely on the people who have the knowledge and share their experiences. We should never be frightened of making mistakes. We learn from them at the end of the day. Then we look at personalised strategies. And we have different learning styles. And in today's environment, we adapt to personal requirements. We're no different in the laundry industry. And it may not be the most lucrative job in the world, being in laundry. I also come from a food background where, you know, we bring customers into training sessions, and food is lovely because you could, you know, look at the equipment, you're going to feed them at the end of the day. What we do within our industry, we have linen or clothing, we take it back and we give it people clean, you know. So it's attracting people into our businesses and making it more attractive. It's a vast environment, and we cover many, many sectors as well. As you can see, all the organisations and the businesses that are here today. So it is quite a vast business that we have here. And so then we look at the induction process, training needs analysis, priorities and different assessments that we set. So just some of the things that we cover on the training needs analysis, and this is just an example that I've put together. And it's looking at the tasks that we set people, the importance of their job role, the level of where they are, changes in technology, and if there's any problematic areas or where we need to improve, then we can mark it down and we can see what the next stage of the development is going to be, or is going to have to be. Taking me on to CPD and process of tracking and documenting skills, knowledge and experience. Stuart's smiling down here, so I think it might be one of his slides to follow mine, I'm not sure. And looking at how we work and beyond any initial training that's needed. So key features, documented processes. It's driven by ourselves and not the employer. Focus on learning. Setting developments and goals and objectives. And formal and informal learning. And just a little bit on Sleet. You know, most of the companies or the laundry companies here are members of Sleet. And within the Sleet, we've looked at different qualifications that people can gain to help the industry. So when we all meet together, okay, we may be competitors when we're outside of the business, but inside the room, we all work together because we have a common goal with what we want to do. So some of the skills that we need within this background is selling, service, installation, commissioning. And Sleet over the years has enabled laundry engineers to gain qualifications to perform their jobs and to get a qualification. So, for instance, gas, electricity has come up into the forefront at the moment. And so the electrical training is one that we are just developing now, so engineers can have some basic skills to go out and make sure that they can do their tasks effectively and efficiently. And everybody's going to be safe at the end of the day. And some of the qualifications that the industry as a whole we look at. So we've got textiles, we've got washing, drying, finishing principles, wool marker accreditation that people can have. Wet cleaning, Michael's just done a talk on wet cleaning and dry cleaning as well. So it's all different qualifications that are out there and people can actually obtain now. And just some of the qualifications, as I said, you know, we have gas and we have electrical qualifications now. So at the end of the day, the engineer or the member of staff gets their qualification, and that's theirs to hold, and they take that through the industry. No matter whether they move on, it's theirs, and all they do is re-register to wherever they move on to. So it's very, very important. So why is training important? And I've taken this from one of our values within the Electrolux business, basically. And this basically, for me, sums up not just what we have internally, but throughout the whole organisation, throughout the whole industry. And it basically says the people who buy and use our products are the sole purpose of our work. We are dependent on them. They do us a favour by choosing our products. Their wants and wishes and views guide our actions. And I think that's totally true. No matter what we do, how people are, or the training that we give, I think that last paragraph there, their wants, wishes and views guide our actions. I think that's very, very important for the future of our industry and training. I thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Stuart Boyd from LTC Worldwide to talk to us about training.
Thank you. Walk slow. Good afternoon, all. I'm going to carry on the themes that Michael's given there, and working on the assumption that a moving target is more difficult to hit, so I'll just keep moving around as best we can. And really looking at what training is, what we do, and really, is it important? And really, do I really need to? Do I really, really need to do training? Which is a thing that we've been asked a lot, as we do. And I can start off and looking and saying, well, is learning, education, we've got training and we get development. We could talk for hours about maybe they're the same thing. And everybody says it's training and education, the same thing. Well, as a father of two daughters, if my daughter came home and said I was at a sex education class today, I would think that's okay. If she came back and said I was at a sex training class today, I would have concerns about the curriculum and would want to see the headmaster. So there is a difference between education and training, and we've got to look at that. If we could say that, really, if we look at it, learning is a given. As Michael touched on, we're always learning, and that's a given. Education is what comes and formulates things and makes it really better for us. If we think about it, we could all speak broadly before we went to school. But we go to school and we get that education. And the education gave us the punctuation. It gave us the grammar. It gave us how to form sentences so that you're not standing up at an organisation where you can't speak proper English because you're getting all your worms all mucked up. So it's really important that you can actually do this and look and see what's happening. Then if you look at it and you say, then you've got the training, and that's where we come in the workplace. Training is about the skills. It's about what we see, about being able to do the work, to actually put the things together. And that is what we see very much in the workplace, in our industries. And lastly, we've got the development. The development is the people bits. The people about making them the best that they can be. And so if we look at it that we're always learning, education is the knowledge, training is the skills, and development is what ties it all together. And that is the four things that we're looking at. And it's not an intellectual thing. It doesn't have to be an intellectual thing. An intellectual, when I was at school, is somebody who heard the William Tell Overture and didn't immediately start thinking about the Lone Ranger. And so you'll all be sitting there going, you'll all be sitting there singing the tune now, and you'll be thinking, yes, that's right. So do we really need to do training? Is it really vital? Well, let's have a think about it. 55%, and this is in the CBI Pearson Education and Skills Survey of 2015, they have said that 55% of the businesses that were not confident that there would be enough people with the skills for them to do high-skilled jobs. They said that they just wouldn't be there. The people would not be there and they would have to skill them up. In the same survey, they said that most in 2022 will be highly skilled jobs and filling them will be virtually impossible. What they're saying is that improving the UK's productivity will mean that people already at work will need to actually add to their skills. And over half of them, 52%, will be in STEM skilled. STEM, a lovely FLA, four-letter acronym, and that's an FLA for scientific, technical, engineering and mathematical. And so they're not there, and that's something that's been picked up by the Guild of Cleaners and Launderers and indeed the TSA, who have now put engineering courses together to support this need. And it was saying as well, 40% of businesses in this survey was identified, and this is the people writing in that are running businesses, like you and I. 40% in the past year have had to provide some remedial training in basic skills. 31% have organised remedial training for some people joining them from school and colleges, and, God bless the graduates, 22% report that they had remedial support from graduates in the last year. So there is training that's required. Please do not associate and think that when John, Paul, George and Ringo turn up to work for you, that they are going to be oven ready. Because the information that businesses are sending in now says that they are not. And therefore they are going to need training. Or you could just let your competitors go past you and your customers leave their demands unfulfilled, should you wish. And so we've got to look and say, well, okay, there's training. And they say there is a need, and I appreciate times are hard. That it's hard for businesses out there, and does training actually give you a return on investment? And is all training worth it? Well, I have to say, all training isn't a return on investment. In some places, training isn't learning, the same as hearing isn't listening. Anybody can train, but is anybody actually learning? And that's why it's really important before you do any training in a business that you make sure you return on investment. We at LTC spend a lot of time up front making sure that we've got everything in place so that the training that we do is geared to what the customer actually wants and geared to putting a value in their business. It is the classic measure twice, cut once. That way you will get your return on investment. And they think, they make sure it's not bolted on. It's got to be integral to your business. And then we hear people saying a return to investment, well, I can't afford it. Well, if you think training's expensive, try paying for ignorance. If you think about it and look at it, if you had a trainer in a room and it cost you £1,000 and you've got 100 people, you've got 10 people in that room, that's £100 each. It's £100 each for that day. If that trainer's in that room for 7 hours, that's £14.50 an hour. For £14.50 an hour, you couldn't get a plumber to walk up your drive and go, it's going to be an expensive job. So the actual return on that investment is immense that you would get that. And if after that training, if they've done it properly and they can't save £100 through better quality or better on the phone or better supervision or improving your rewash, then really you can't afford not to. The other thing that we hear a lot when we're out doing it is, if you train people, they leave. What's even worse if you don't train them and they stay? Because then you're stuck with them. And really, I'm reluctant to say that if you look on the internet. But if you do look on the internet and you could say things, and it will say there, that the Oxford Economic Survey recently said that to recruit and replace and absorb somebody into your organisation can take up to £30,000. By the time you've had the gap filled and you've advertised in your time and everybody else's time. So it is significantly easier to train the people and keep the people than it actually is to try and look for somebody else. So let's look at these benefits then of training and see what it is. Well, they'll get new skills and knowledge will be acquired. They will actually know what they're doing. They will get that new skills as the business goes, as technology goes in. And we've all done it. I remember when I started in the working, there was a great thing called the typing pool. And now you've got executives all around finding that they're all now typing their own emails with their two fingers. We've all learned different skills. That's all happening now. And that's got to be done. And these existing skills can be updated and enhanced as things go on. We've then got as well, weaknesses can be demonstrated and mechanisms can be put in place. You can then make sure that you've got your competence right if there's somebody that's not working right in the job, and you can put them in through training so that you give them a bit of dignity. So that if you have to get rid of them and put them in a taxi, at least you've had the dignity of trying to make them the best that they can be. And it improves the confidence and the capability and the competence of all the people. Also, what can happen with training is that it can be a motivational initiative. If I could be bothered, I could talk all day about motivation, but I just can't. But if we were to look and say that, if we were to say about motivation and see what things are in terms of motivation, then it is a motivational initiative. If you put into any search engine about what will motivate staff, training will come up as a potential for employees. It will also motivate them as a retention and recruitment tool. People may join your business because they know they're going to get trained and they're going to get supported. And indeed, it may stay. In that same search engine, you put in staff, training and retain, and it will come up that training is a major, major factor in keeping people in your job and saving you up to £30,000 and replacing it. It will add the flexibility to your workforce. It will add flexibility and efficiency to your business because everybody knows everybody else's job. How many times have you phoned up something, or you phoned up a council, or you phoned up something and you say, can I ask a question? I'm terribly sorry, Mary's off today and we can't get the answer. You wouldn't want that happening to your business. Training will get round that. Training will make sure that you've got everything in place to keep the business going. And it will create knowledge of transfers across your staff and that sharing of knowledge amongst your staff. It will create that team spirit and that momentum. And spirit is very important. My dad was a Methodist, my mother was a spiritualist. That makes me a methylated spirit. It's all about looking together and saying how we can put the team spirit together to make sure that your business runs as effectively as it can. And training, why wouldn't you? If people are trained, then probably less supervision is required. because they're getting on, because they're more acquainted with the job. If you look at it as well, they work safer, they're more conscientious about it. Promotion and succession plan will be significantly easier because you've tried it before you buy. You've got your light bulbers, as we could call it, the people who you think are going to be the next generation. You've put them on training, you see if they've responded, and then you've got succession plan for your business, because we all need to think about succession planning for our businesses. And quantity and quality of performance will go up because they have been trained, assuming it is the right type of training. So to me, in terms of the conclusions, it creates a momentum of performance across your business, a momentum of improvements that will help you grow your business. Trained staff will be better equipped to handle customers' inquiries, or make that sale, or lead and manage their stuff, and. They will be better. As an investment for you, they will do it. Training will help your business run better. But it has to be the right training. It has to be targeted. It has to be realistic. You have to set realistic expectations. And you have to work and make sure, and that's why it's to be a return on investment, it has to be integral and not just bolted on. So are you motivated to train your staff? Do I really need to with regards to training? I think you have to. I think if you look and you say, and you're building this through, that you've got to say, you've got to find that motivation. It's a hard business that we're in out there. Your customers are demanding more from you. Your competitors are after your share of the market. You've got to stay ahead. And by doing that, one way of doing that is to be your training. Training, do I really need to? I think there are no option not to. And you wouldn't want that to apply to you. You would want to be the best that you could be. You would want to be better tomorrow in whatever you are that you do. And therefore, if it's good enough for you, it is more than good enough for your staff. And they deserve the dignity that you demand, that you are given. And training will help that. That is it. There is no more. This is Leslie Boyd's husband saying thank you very much indeed, and may your God go with you. Thank you.